If you're watching this video, it is because you're preparing the ISE 3 or 4 Trinity topic presentation. I shall be giving you some advice on the preparation and planning, which will help you pass the oral part of the exam. So let's start. First of all, your presentation must be timed to last 4 minutes and then take into account another 4 minutes for the discussion with the examiner. Once you have chosen a topic and planned your points, there are a few questions that you must ask yourself. 1. What is the aim, purpose or intention of the presentation? 2. Is it discursive? 3. Are there two sides of the argument? 4. Will the examiner find it easy to discuss my topic during the discussion phase? And 5. Are the main points I want to make clear? So let's start with the introduction. Tell your audience what you're going to talk about, giving them a rough idea. And don't forget to state your position. Here are some suggestions to begin the presentation.
In my presentation, I intend to talk about.
The subject of my presentation is.
Over the next 4 minutes, I'm going to talk about.
It's a good idea to tell the listener about the structure of your presentation. Here is an example. I have divided my presentation into 3 parts. In the first part, I'll put forward. In the next section, I will explain. In part 3, I'll show. In the last part, I would like to give a practical example. And finally, I shall end with my personal opinion. Sequencing your ideas by signposting or signalling where you are in your presentation is very important, because if you mark clearly the points and structure of your talk as you speak, your audience will be able to follow you better. It's as if you're giving instructions to someone who is driving through a road they don't know. You must give clear indications.
Now let us look at the first aspect, which is, first of all, in the first place.
Link ideas and sections by indicating the end of one section and the beginning of the next.
That's all I would like to say about. And now let us turn to. Now that we've seen. Let us turn to. I'll move on now to. Turning now to.
Remember, it is a good idea to refer to what an expert says.
According to, in the words of, here, I'd like to quote. There is a famous quotation that goes.
To refer to common knowledge, you have these expressions which are useful.
As you may know, it is generally accepted that, as you are probably aware.
What is a rhetorical question? A question that you ask without expecting it to be answered. Why use such a question? In using such a question, the speaker appears to be having a dialogue with the listeners. It should also catch their attention.
Have you ever seen, heard, experienced? How can we explain this? What does that mean? What is the importance of? What are the consequences of?
The end of the talk should never come as a surprise to an audience. It needs special consideration. This is the point where you reiterate your position by giving your opinion and justifying your ideas. Lastly, you should give a message that logically comes out of the ideas developed in your speech. So at last we come to the end of the presentation. It is very important to thank your listeners and invite them to ask questions and make comments.
Thank you very much for your attention. I'd be happy to answer any questions you'd like to ask. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. If there are any suggestions or comments, I'd be delighted to discuss them with you.
So here's some general advice. Your presentation must be timed to 4 minutes for ISC 3 or 5 minutes for ISC 4. So you need to rehearse your presentation to yourself at first, and then, if you want, in front of your friends. Speak clearly, don't mumble. Speak clearly, don't mumble. The audience must hear you and understand you. Use an appropriate tone of voice and leave your nerves at home. Good luck.